Do you ever notice who it is? Stop to think of who it is we kill. It's always people who've told us to live together in harmony and try to love one another. Jesus, Gandhi, Lincoln, John Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy, Martin Luther King, Medgar Evers, Malcolm X, John Lennon. They all said, try to live together peacefully. Bam! Right in the fucking head. Apparently, we're not ready for that. Yeah, that's difficult behavior for us. We're too busy sitting around trying to think up ways to kill each other. Here's one we came up with. It's efficient, too. Genocide, killing large numbers of people simply because they don't look like you, they don't talk like you, and they don't have the same kind of hats you do. You ever notice that anytime you see two groups of people who really hate each other, chances are good they're wearing different kind of hats. Keep an eye on that. It might be important.
It's time for another Elsie's Little Pickles, the pickle pod for the people, reminding everyone to please go to our GoFundMe. Protect your pickles, Elsie's Icebreaker Mission.
And as Carlin said, always look out for two groups of people that don't like each other wearing different kinds of hats.
Oh my God. Everyone used to piss, moan, and complain that in his later years as doing stand-up that he was doing nothing but grievance stand-up and had lost his edge and wasn't as funny. This motherfucker was...
I've always thought he was fucking hysterical.
He's prophetic. Just that
70s
one little
era
comment.
and 90s era, Carlin, are the best eras.
Best. And the funny thing about it is just that comment. They're wearing different hats. Keep an eye open for that. It might be important, or however you said it.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Keep an eye on that. It could be important.
Yeah. That was almost...
Perhaps a yarmulke and a keffiyeh?
Yeah. Yeah. Pick your hat. It doesn't matter. Even the tablecloths. Even the tablecloths that they use.
A head wrap and a dish towel.
Perhaps a MAGA hat.
Yeah.
And any other hat. At all.
Yeah.
Any other hat at all. So I came across that clip and I thought, man, that just nailed it for me. And he's right. We you can say whatever you want, but we're supporting a genocide with Gaza and Israel.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a fact. Yeah. We're participating actively in a genocide, potentially with Iran. I can see that happening. They're going to have boots on the ground. They said there would be no boots on the ground. We're getting boots on the ground.
Only problem with that is you have about 100 meters of walkable ground from the shoreline before it's just a fucking mountain range.
No, that's true.
So
but see,
now apparently the Houthis are coming.
Oh yeah, no, the Houthis, and they already kind of fucked with us before, and no matter how much big military equipment we were bringing in, or explosives, or bombs, or whatever, they still kind of fucked with us. This is what I had said. And the American presence as the superpower ends on our 250th anniversary, and it ends because of Trump. It ends because of Trump. End of story.
Yeah.
And just personal point of view, I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I have a hard time taking serious any angry group or militant group called the Houthis. I just picture angry Who's from Whoville with weaponry.
Yeah, they're a little bit more than that.
The bulby nose.
They're a little bit more than that.
We're gonna go get that, Grinch.
But the thing is they keep telegraphing that this is going to be a short war, which means that the Iranians are just going, all we got to do is wait till they get tired.
Yeah, all they have to do is dig in their heels. The only thing that may change that calculus is if Trump is like, okay, I'm over it, drop a nuke.
Yeah, and I could see him doing that too. But the problem that you incur with that then is oil prices stay high. Now, there's a show called Landman with Billy Bob Thornton where he plays a character named Tommy. I'm in love with the clips from that show. I've got to watch both seasons. I haven't, but I have fallen in love with Billy Bob Thornton as
oil
this
lobby
character.
propaganda, as far as I'm concerned. But let's hear it.
No, actually, I don't think you'll find it that way. I don't think you will find it that way.
It's a little more like Yellowstone, but a little more comedy.
Yeah, and there's a lot of fucking funny parts in it. I've seen a lot of funny clips.
I've seen the beer versus whiskey clip. I know that one.
Yeah, but I think he does a really good job. And mind you, this is obviously Taylor Sheridan that his words, but I think he kind of explains this in a way that pretty much everyone can understand and everyone can get behind. So
you want oil to live above 60 but below 90. And don't get me wrong, we're still printing money at 90, but gas gets up over $3.50 a gallon, it starts to pinch. It hits 100, every product in America has to readjust its price. $78 a barrel, that's about perfect. It brings enough profit to keep exploring, but don't sting as much at the pump. Plus, of course, you're in California. I mean, they tax the shit out of it out there. It could be $45 a barrel, and it's still $4 a pump. I don't know how those son of bitches do it out there. And nobody's immune. Kids have to quit college. Trucks get sold or repoed. Houses, too. People quit going to the doctor because they lost their insurance. Even the lifespan of the population. The smart ones, they pay cash for everything and then sock away enough to ride out the troughs, but there ain't that many smart ones.
That's a pretty good explanation of the fucking oil business, at least in my opinion. So, like, what are they going to do? You know what I mean? Like, what is Trump going to do to get himself, or at least sell to the American people, at a bare minimum, his MAGA base, that this was smart and this is okay? Because
it's your patriotic duty to spend money at the gas pump.
Well, MAGA on aggregate, they are going to buy it hook, line, and sinker, whatever he says. Again, on aggregate, not necessarily, universal.
There's a lot of fucking MAGA people that are like, I voted for this motherfucker 3 times. I cannot believe that he lied to me.
I've seen that too.
So I think you're starting to see that more.
The reality of the fact is a solid 25% of the U.S. population is in a cult.
Well,
right?
I would agree with you there. And the cult, this is the sad part. The cult does not realize that he wants to keep them stupid.
But the thing is, like, I alluded to this on 2 podcasts ago. What they're trying to do is establish a 2-tiered society where there are haves and have-nots. And if you can afford $5 a gallon gas or higher, then yeah, you're free to go. You're good to you're driving, you're fine. You basically have enough money at that point that you can, buy your way out of, any kind of legal situation, as Trump has done, as Elon has done, as Epstein did, as Peter Thiel does, right? And then if you're a have-not, you can't afford to have a car because you can't afford the gas for it. You can't afford, your grocery bills without begging, borrowing, or stealing, or having a garden of your own to supplement. Much in the way that Russia has it set up right now, where most people have to have a garden to supplement, whatever they can afford at a grocery store.
Right. But I do think, though, there's another possibility in this equation. And I've heard this bandied around a bit, where it's like, we don't have to worry about Trump dealing with another pandemic. We're going to get shut into our houses because we're not going to be able to afford energy.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that kind of aspect too. And I think, again, you're seeing a lot of people that were either independent or MAGA friendly, but not necessarily hardcore or nuclear MAGA, whatever the fuck bullshit they call it, that are coming around and realizing, oh, he promised no new forever wars. We're in a new war that we didn't need to be in.
The only thing they give a shit about is the gas prices. I've seen this before. I've seen these conversations. Yes, there are some MAGA people leaving because of Epstein. Yes, there are some MAGA people leaving because of the forever war that we're starting. But on aggregate, the people that are leaving MAGA are people that are pissed that they're paying $4 a gallon for gas.
Well, I think though some people are leaving because they're realizing that he is a piece of shit. So like, listen to this.
Well, it's winning. You got to win. I've watched a lot of people, leaders, great leaders. And, the one thing about sports is you break it down into, a 2-hour period, something nice. You don't have to wait a lifetime to find out is somebody a winner or a loser. You got a lot of losers, mostly losers, fortunately. It's a good thing to have a lot of losers. I always like to just hang around with losers, actually, because it makes me feel better. I hate guys that are very, very successful, and you have to listen to their success stories. I like people that like to listen to my success.
So obviously he didn't like listening to Elon's success because Elon is
far more successful. He sucked jobs from his lessers. That's
talk about an insecure pussy.
Yeah, but did you see how he without saying it, he was talking about waiting to find out if he won the vote.
Yeah.
I mean, like the thing is sometimes what Trump does
that's not what he does. He was crying out, stop voting, stop counting.
Yeah, no, I know, but because he wanted to hear that he won.
Hmm?
That's all he wants. He just
wants to hear. If it would have stopped on election night, he would have won.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's...
At least 2020, and then, obviously, there are irregularities being explored for 2024.
But regardless, I mean, at the end of the day, he wants it to be, at midnight, I'm declared a winner.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's what the SAVE Act is about. That's what everything that he is doing is all about being the winner. And he knows that even though his name's not on the ticket for 2026 midterm, he knows that he's the leader of the party. And the bigger the shellacking, the more of a loser he is.
You know what's interesting about 2026? I've not heard him expressly endorse. I know there are endorsements out there, but I haven't heard him expressly endorse that many people because it seems like
still a little early though.
It's sure a little early, but it seems like historically speaking, every time he endorses a candidate, it's either fucking narrow victory or they lose.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing though, is
and generally
the Republicans have not learned this lesson. Everything that Trump touches turns to shit.
Yeah, how the fuck do you bankrupt a casino?
My point exactly. I think he's the only person ever to. I mean, I'm sure there's somebody else, but
casinos are fucking money factories, man. How do you bankrupt it?
You're printing your own money. All the odds are. It's the equivalent of owning a arcade in a city that only has children with quarters.
Yeah.
You can't lose. And yet he did. I don't get it.
And now he's doing it to the country.
Yep. And he's doing definitely with gas prices. And now you got JD, who has been uniquely quiet about all of this shit. But we can discuss that later. But here's him trying to defend it.
You're right. Gas prices have certainly gone up because of what's going on in the Middle East. But they're going to come down, right? This is a very, very temporary reaction to what is going to ultimately be a short-term conflict. I think the president's been very clear about this, that we're not interested in being in Iran a year down the road, 2 years down the road. We're taking care of business. We're going to be out of there soon, and gas prices are going to come back down.
And they're not. They're not going to come back down. Maybe they will a bit, but I mean,
because we're not getting out of there. It's a forever war.
Well, look, you got to remember the Republican Party right now is trying to figure out what life past Trump is. Okay?
Yeah.
So,
which is, in my opinion, a MAGA civil war because no one really likes J.D. Vance.
Well, there's definitely a MAGA civil war brewing right now. We'll get to that in just a minute. But more importantly, they're trying to figure out how do we continue what we're doing, Project 2025, all that bullshit, tough man on the fucking block, throw the weight around, fucking bomb whenever we want. Oh, we want Greenland, we'll just take it. We want Venezuela, we'll just kidnap the fucking president of Venezuela. I mean, all that shit. They're trying to figure out how they get the base to support them past the personality of Trump. Mm-hmm. And that's a very natural thing for a party to do. But this isn't going away. This is not going away. And the reason I say it's not going away, because you see leaders in the House and Senate, like Lindsey Graham as an example, who he doesn't have much more time left on the political stage, but the idea
Before his
is
Grindr account leaks.
Yeah, exactly. But the idea is, how do we keep this type of control? I mean, they're bulldozing through all kinds of shit that maybe there's not a law against doing it, but the norm was don't fucking do that, right? And the reason I say that you got a MAGA civil war coming is because you're seeing it even with
Tucker is already positioning himself otherwise.
Yeah, which is interesting because his kid works for JD.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Tucker's kid, I forget what his kid's name is. Some fucking stupid ass name.
The way I see it falling is you're going to have some contingent move towards Tucker, who is one of the most insincere pieces of shit to grace the planet.
I think Tucker might even make a run for it.
I think it's possible, but again, I think he's just too insincere.
I got to be honest with you. I'd rather have Tucker than fucking JD.
I think JD runs. I think he quickly finds out that no one likes JD Vance.
I don't think he gets it.
When Trump dies, I think Don Jr. or Eric step forward as the orthodox MAGA.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. They may step up as a leader of MAGA, but I don't think that either of them...
Maybe not as like a candidate,
I don't
but
think they're
going to step forward as the voice of orthodox MAGA.
Yeah, I think they're just waiting for...
He was my father, and I know exactly what he would have done in this situation kind of shit.
I think they're going to wait for Barron.
If they are the leaders of orthodox MAGA, will they have a special hat?
Oh, I'm sure they will.
Yeah. Well, have you seen Tucker already has his own merch, and it's actually fucking fire. Some of Tucker's recent merch, actually so cool. I'm just never going to give him my money.
I haven't seen any of Tucker's merch.
Like NYC, but the C is a hammer and sickle. A mug that says neocons are gay for Israel. Like,
really?
Yeah.
Good for him, man. I mean, like I said, you have to take your allies where you can get them. You know what I mean? Like, I've never been a fan of Marjorie Taylor Greene, but ever since she quit Congress, I'm a fucking fan of Marjorie Taylor Greene because she's coming out like a fucking battered wife who's had enough and is just laying the shit out. She is airing all the dirty
baseball
laundry.
Bat to the party pickup truck.
Yeah, I mean, she is literally just airing all the dirty laundry.
But again, with Marjorie Taylor Greene, as with Tucker, as with Nick Fuentes, I warn of the fact that they are going in a more extreme far-right direction. Not that they aren't correct in criticizing MAGA. They are.
No, I agree with you on that entire point. But when your opponent is about to shoot themselves in the foot, you do not interrupt.
Yeah. No,
you know
I mean, again, I'm not saying...
It's just division. It's just division. Like, listen, all right, Megyn Kelly, all right, who, when Trump was running in 2016...
I just want to throw this out there.
Mm-hmm.
The last time I brought up this Project 2025 tracker, they were at 49% completion. They're now at 53%.
Yeah, they're going to get what they want because I think they have AIPAC money. I think that they've got all kinds of big defense contractor money. I think that this is the push. This is what they're trying to do. They're trying to reshape the world order in some form or fashion that I'm not really sure I appreciate, and I definitely don't know that I get fully. But anyways, my point is, you're seeing whether it's Fuentes or Megyn Kelly or Tucker or go down the line, right? As far as like Republican right-wing supporters, right? And I don't get why Megyn Kelly, aside from her affiliation with Fox News, would be supporting Trump after what he said to her during the...
They're breaking rank.
They are breaking rank. So, but here, this is Kelly.
As this thing goes south, we need to know exactly who talked him into it and what representations were made to convince the president that this was a good idea. Who? Who specifically? The names we know are Bibi Netanyahu first and foremost, Lindsey Graham, equally to blame. We know from the Wall Street Journal report that Mark Thiessen of Fox News and General Jack Keane were major advocates of the war. Okay? Like those guys, but they appear to have been very wrong that this was a good idea. And we could keep going. Mark Levin, chief among them. He says now, oh, I wasn't me. Every night on Fox News out there, urging the president to do this. And then he had a meeting with him in June where we know he denies it now. We know he pushed him for this. Ben Shapiro was out on his show every day pushing this war. Like, there were very prominent activists on the right who were practically frothing at the mouth for this thing. And now that it's not only going poorly, but the president's poll numbers are in a precipitous free fall, we'd love to see some accountability. Who promised him what?
See, I find that adorable. Okay? I find it adorable because, look, the idea that Megyn Kelly and Tucker and Levin and, like Fuente, like they're all trying to figure out how they mark their territory without pulling their dicks out, Megyn Kelly included, though the best looking of the bunch. They're trying to mark a territory for a pivot point because they smell how bad this is going to be.
Yeah. And again, this just plays into the division in MAGA that we're seeing. We're starting to see the cracks, I guess.
Well, I think Marjorie Taylor Greene
before.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, what happened with her and how she left Congress,
Mhm.
I think that was really the striking blow. And I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
Because
Suddenly, explosively, and explicitly because of Epstein files.
Yeah, but beyond that, she was very, very good at defining the sides within MAGA.
Mhm.
You're either America first or you're MAGA. You're not going to be both because the pivot has happened from Trump. He says, I get to decide what MAGA is. Okay, well, your behaviors, your decisions, and your choices are not putting America first. There was a point where it was like America first MAGA, but that's gone. That's fucking gone.
Yeah. And again, it's been said many times before that, like, oh, we're starting to see the cracks in MAGA, but like the reality is Trump is but a mortal man. He will die one day, and these cracks will open.
But that's
these
why
fissures will open.
That's why I say, like, you're seeing this. It's actually all kind of happening at the same time, but a lot of people aren't really paying attention to it. You're seeing the division in MAGA, right? And you're seeing
It's the problem with cults of personality. I mean, this happened
absolutely,
with
but
the
that's why I
Branch
say
Davidians. This happened with the fucking
it always happens.
Jonestown.
Yeah, it always happens in a cult. At some point, somebody goes, "I don't want you fucking my wife."
Yeah.
Right? I mean, like, literally, that's usually the way. Like, in most cults, it boils down to either, no, I don't think I want to suck your dick, or no, I don't think I want you to fuck my wife. Like, it always
They're a
boils
little
down
tired
there.
of the sheriff of Nottingham syndrome of you 10:15,
Yes.
you 10:30, bring a friend.
Well, but yeah, exactly. But beyond all of that, it's this idea that in this particular cult, the Epstein files, I think, are the dividing factor. At least
Yeah,
the
you
beginning
either
of it.
are willing to ignore them, or you're an honest actor.
Right. And
in that respect, at least.
And I got to tell you, I'm seeing a lot of MAGA come out and like they're planting their flag on their opposition or their displeasure with Trump. They're planting their flag in the Epstein files
Mhm.
or in the war in Iran. Like, those are the real two big ones, because really at the end of the day, most of the people that were
Those were the two biggest promises.
those were the two biggest things. Like, we don't want any more forever wars. We want to spend the money at home. We want to make our lives better. And now you're spending what is it, 30 billion or something like that they've spent so far in the war?
I mean, the first like 6 or 7 days, it was 11 billion. So
well, yeah, it was.
We're now almost a month in. Assume that's quadrupled. We're talking $45 billion.
Let's be generous and say it's 30 billion. Okay, that would have paid for that $30 billion could have paid
Wiped
for
out all medical debt.
all medical debt, and definitely could have covered the subsidies for healthcare, Obamacare, if you want to call it that, for what, 10 years, I think it was, I heard. So, like, people are waking up and they're doing the math, and they're going, wait a minute, how's this fucking working? I mean, like, even little shit like the ballroom, people are starting to get pissed because articles are coming out that the plans are fucked. Like, it
Turns
doesn't
out that tends to happen.
Well, look, there was
when you haphazardly demolish half of the White House.
I don't think he's. I don't think.
Together.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to get this done before he's out of office.
You know, it kind of seems like with MAGA, with the 2026 midterms coming up, it reminds me of pictures that we've received recently that I just shared with the two of you in text message. Let me tell you a little story. I'll make this short.
All right.
A neighbor of ours sent us pictures because she heard some rustling in a tree that was just going on and on and on. And she was watching this squirrel who had been running up and down the branches. And she then started to hear it squawking angrily, plaintively. And she got a little bit closer, took the photos. We got like 20 of them. What happened was this squirrel was running and got his nuts stuck between two branches. And could not, every time he tried to twist to get it undone, it was just making it worse.
Excruciating.
It was just making it worse.
Did she help?
I feel like a person might have tried to, should have tried, I should say, to go up and tickle these two little nuts and tried to set his testicles free. He eventually did, but it took about 45 minutes.
Oh, let's see how soft and fuzzy these are.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
and much like MAGA right now, with the special elections going on, the midterms coming up, their nuts are stuck between two branches.
Yeah, I you know what? That's actually a very good analogy.
Yeah,
because their nuts are stuck between America First branch and MAGA branch.
Yeah,
and they don't know what way to go. They don't know what way to go. And look, here's the thing I think is interesting. For as poorly as people think about Democrats, I think in special elections we've only lost one.
Yes.
Yeah, Democrats are doing better, not because they are better, but because they are not MAGA.
Exactly.
Or otherwise Republican.
So there's been what now?
Which I understand that calculus, but I wish we could get a fucking policy platform like that Democrats could act in lockstep about, because they won't.
No, I agree.
Everything that's popular, they're like, no.
But
our donors say otherwise.
How many special elections have there been since Trump took office again? Like 30?
Good question.
Like 30?
That is a good question.
Yeah, like 20 or 30, I want to say.
Yeah, it's somewhere it's definitely in double digits. I know that. But the fact of the matter is that not only when it comes to special elections are Democrats just whooping the Republicans' asses, but more importantly, you're seeing like the candidates you kind of hope for come up. We've got one in Michigan. I'll let you, because Colton, you brought this to my attention. I'll let you.
Oh, thank you.
Give a little bit of a background before I play the first clip. But actually, you know what? I'm going to play the clip first, because I think once we play the clip, people will understand why this guy is resonating.
They're telling us that this is about liberating Iran.
Launched Operation Epic Fury, one of the largest, most complex, most overwhelming military offensive.
Tell me what kind of liberation comes at the end of a missile to a girl's school. Tell me what's liberating about sending another generation of U.S. service members to die on killing fields in the Middle East, unjustified in illegal war. So here's the question it seems nobody in Washington wants you to be asking. Who's this war really for? Because it's already cost you and I, the American taxpayer, billions, and it's rising every single day. Our grocery prices aren't any cheaper, still can't afford your health care, and that idea of ever owning a home, still out of reach. What this is a distraction. from the fact that this president can't actually solve any of those problems and the fact that he's in the Epstein files. Because when politicians can't actually solve your problems, what they do is distract you with chaos and corruption. But don't you worry, somebody does benefit, just not you. The weapons manufacturers are making a killing, literally, manufacturing bombs to drop on other people's kids. And trust me, they paid for it. Raytheon's PAC gave over $1.2 million to federal candidates. Boeing gave more than $1.5 million. Lockheed Martin, $1.5 million. Northrop Grumman, $1.2 million. This is what happens when corporations spend millions of dollars to buy off politicians. War becomes good business. But they're not the only ones. This has been a decades-long project, architected by leadership in Israel.
Obviously, we like to see a regime change, at least I would, just as I would like to see in Iraq.
That's why you got Democrats bending over backwards to justify Trump's illegal war in Iran. What do they all have in common? They took money from AIPAC. But war is not free. It's always paid for. Most of all by the service members who have to put their lives on the line, the families who wait desperately for them, by the casualties lost to these wars, by you and I, the American taxpayer, watching our groceries, our healthcare, our housing get further out of reach. This war, it's illegal, it's immoral, it's unjustifiable, and it's wrong. So let's be clear. No war with Iran. So if I were in the U.S. Senate, I would not vote to authorize it, I would not vote to fund it, and I would use all of myself and all of my voice to get us the hell out of war in Iraq.
Now, with that being said, tell me anyone who can legitimately hear that and not be for that candidate. And that candidate is who?
Yeah, so now I need all Michigan listeners who are of voting age and are willing to cast a vote to listen up here, because this is Abdul El Sayed. He is from Dearborn. He is a medical doctor, and in that set of circumstances, and being a progressive guy himself, he is, of course, for Medicare for all. He wants a single payer system to where all you have to do is show up to a doctor's office or a hospital and you will be cared for. And that's that.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond that, of course, clean air and water. He wants to protect and expand civil rights and civil liberties. He wants to encourage a healthy middle class, which I personally am of the opinion that middle class doesn't exist. You either work to put food on your table or you don't. And if you don't, your money is making you enough money and you don't work. So beyond that, housing crisis, sensible foreign policy, as we just heard, and better education. Presumably, let me just double check here.
For reference, Democrats have won 30 special elections since Trump took office.
They have 130. I thought it was 30. How many have there been, though? Like, how many did we lose?
That it's not giving me an exact number, but my assistant said that 30 have been won by Democrats since Trump took office.
I mean, I smell a shellacking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
the numbers don't lie.
With Abdul El Sayed, what I was getting at, he does encourage a debt-free college and debt-free and tuition-free pathway for college education. He doesn't specify too much on his policy platform beyond that. But look, here's the deal. He is, for all Michiganders that know about him and know about his policies, he's in the lead on opinion polls. Now, is that a guarantee one way or another? No, absolutely not. But that's why it's so important. That's why I'm begging all of our Michigan voters to really give him an opportunity, look into him, check out his policy platform. And if you feel so inclined, please cast your vote for him, not only in the primary, but in the general election for the Senate seat in Michigan that's up for grabs in 2026. Okay. Now, with that video, with that clip that we just listened to about the war in Iran, you'll notice that he pointed out two very, very poison pill groups as the reason why we're at war with Iran. One is AIPAC, and two is the military-industrial complex. You know, your Raytheon, your Lockheed Martin, so on.
Right. But you gotta admit, the amount of money that they're donating is pretty small. but
Yeah,
it
I
has
mean,
a
it's not-
huge payoff for them.
It's not super substantial in a monetary
No, but
amount,
it's not as good of a return on investment as Peter Thiel's $15 million to get J.D. Vance into Congress, and now he's able to,
now he's one step
he's cashing his chips in
from the president.
Yeah,
Yeah.
now he's cashing his chips in, and he's got in just this year like $1 billion worth of government contracts or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
you got to understand that whether it's the industrial military complex or whether it's Peter Thiel or the tech bros, they're looking for their little dark horse candidate that they
Sure.
can, with their amount of wealth is pocket change to
Now,
invest in and have huge returns off of that.
With Abdul El Sayed, the thing is, he has just with evidence in that video, he has rejected the poison pills. Okay, which makes him a target to the purveyors of those poison pills, the military-industrial complex
And AIPAC.
and the Jewish lobby.
Oh, big time.
Many Jewish lobbies.
Well, here,
right?
here, listen. This is how they come at him.
McMorrow slams El Sayed for campaigning with Hassan Piker, compares Piker to Nick Fuentes. It's someone who says extremely offensive things in order to generate clicks and views and followers, which is not entirely different from somebody like Nick Fuentes. Picar is a provocateur, to put it lightly, who says things that are misogynistic and anti and said that the United States deserved 9/11. McMorrow is seeking the Democratic nomination for U.S. Senate in Michigan. The reason why people are doing this is because I am unconditionally and uncompromisingly anti-Zionist. So from that perspective, I am infinitely closer to the average voter anywhere around the country than any politician that strikes back against me. She sat down with Jewish Insider. Oh my God. Jewish Insider is a mouthpiece for the state of Israel. Mallory McMorrow is leaning into the state of Israel's aid to attack Abdul El Sayed. This is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. Now we know why she was doing the whole AIPAC meetup and giving them her position paper. There's 3 candidates in this race. You got Mallory McMorrow, who is backed by J Street. So they're liberal pro-Israel people. The other side is Haley Stevens. Haley Stevens is backed by AIPAC, ultra-Zion, openly pro-Israel. And then there's one guy in the race, Abdul El Sayed, that's not backed by either of these groups.
Y'all know that I give a damn about polls, but sometimes when they're released by people who are running against you in your race, you got to pay attention. Because those polls released yesterday, they showed 2 things. Number 1, people really like the movement we're building. And number 2, they like it even more when they've heard about it. Why? Because I'm not a politician. I don't do politician things. I'm not trying to tell you what you can't have and shouldn't fight for. So if you believe like me that we deserve Medicare for all, that we deserve union rights, that we deserve an economy that is built for people instead of corporations, if we deserve to know that our tax dollars are being used to invest in us and our kids here rather than drop bombs on other people and their kids over there, then I hope that you'll join us.
Abdul El Sayed is backed by the people. You make that decision.
Now, I just have to point out, yes, that was Hassan Piker. Yes, he is very far left to some people. To me, he's right in my wheelhouse as far as politics goes. There are some things I disagree with, but so on.
I had one problem with that clip.
Sure.
And him talking, and that is he took his time at the beginning explaining everything. He needs to speed that up a little bit.
Well, look, here's
sarcasm. I didn't catch half of what the fuck he just said at the beginning of that video.
Yeah.
So I was like, whoa. Am I taking downers? Is everything going super fast all of a sudden?
The person who did that video was speaking incredibly quick or sped it up for whatever reason.
But here's kind of the breakdown on it, okay? So he explains that the 2 main candidates in opposition to Abdul El Sayed are the Democrat, Mallory McMorrow, who has not taken, at least that we know of, any AIPAC money, but has taken over $100,000 by pro-Israel lobbies such as J Street, which are the, we're going to do the genocide, but we're going to smile about it instead of frowning while we do it. And Haley Stevens, who is perfectly willing to frown while she supports the genocide, right? So you have AIPAC backed, you have J Street backed, and then you have Abdul El Sayed, who is campaigning with Hassan Piker. Hassan Piker has joined him at MSU and U of M campus just in the last week to help campaign for Abdul El Sayed. Now, the thing of it is, we haven't even hit the primary election yet. Okay, we're not too close, realistically speaking, as far as I'm aware, unless I'm misremembering. I don't think we're too close to the Democratic primary. The fact that Mallory McMorrow is already talking to AIPAC and hitting the anti-Semitism button is shockingly bad news for Mallory McMorrow. That's essentially the political nuclear button right now. You know?
Yeah, but there's also the concept.
And Hassan, I will point out, is anti-Zionist, which is being portrayed as anti-Semitism. It is not. Zionism is a political ideology. Anti-Semitism is a racial hatred. And on top of that, when they talk about Hassan having said America deserved 9/11, he's explaining the concept of blowback, which is a well-known geopolitical theory.
Yeah.
In the sense of, if you meddle in another country for long enough, yeah, they're going to fucking bomb you.
Well, yes.
They're going to do terrorism. Yeah, that's going to happen.
Has anyone called Bernie Sanders anti-Semitic over his comments?
Yes, actually. I can't name names, but at least off the top of my head, but yes.
I can't wrap my head around that.
But let's be honest, isn't this what Israel wants?
They want you to believe that anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism because that not only guarantees further support for their Zionist project, which is a fascist project, but it also guarantees that terrorism keeps happening to them and the supporters of Zionism, thus proving, hey, look, see all this terrorism against Jews that's happening? That's why the state of Israel is so important to have.
And look, let me be clear. I for every there's not one Jewish person I know that I don't love. I mean, they're great people. I have no problem with their faith. I have no problem with them as people. Yeah, a few of them are a bit whiny. Okay, but that's just part of it.
I have no problem with Judaism or Jewish people. What I have a problem with is using religion to justify a fascist ideology.
Exactly. That's the
problem. Which is exactly what Christian Zionists are doing for Israel. That's what Christian nationalists are doing in America.
Yeah, like this is not just a Jew problem. That's what I'm saying is this is not just a Jewish problem. Okay.
It's quickly approaching a 90-10 issue to where 90% of the electorate is anti-Zionist and anti-state of Israel. And the other 10% are pro-state of Israel, pro-Zionist. And I'm sorry, but 10% on a 90-10 issue, you're not winning that election.
Well, I don't see how anyone is going into the 2026 and maybe even the 2028 election and winning off of being funded by AIPAC or having any Israeli money flow into their fucking accounts. I just don't see that happening. I think people are getting hip to the idea that Bibi was able to find just enough dick sticking out of Trump's pants to be able to grab onto it and lead him into war.
Yeah.
And he did that by coaxing it out, by tickling his balls with Gaza.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that sounds like a really crude way of saying it, but
I'll
really
let you
believe
be the king.
Yeah, like I think he tickled his balls by saying, think about all of the development that can happen on this,
And that's all Trump cares about is construction development.
Beachfront property. I'm sure Bibi was like tickling his balls and had a pinky finger up his asshole. It was just like, let me tell you about how much money you can make in Gaza. And then
would that be considered Princess Peach syndrome?
Princess Peach? You mean Princess and the Pea?
No, Princess Peach from Super Mario.
Oh.
The mushroom, tickling the mushroom.
And also the fact that she never puts out for Mario.
Never.
If this isn't working, I will turn to your brother Luigi.
And never not once put out for Mario after all the shit he's been through for her.
Nothing. Not even.
But yeah, I mean,
not even a handy.
To me,
pretty soon, even Toad is going to start looking good. Where's Yoshi?
To me, this spells doom for Mallory McMorrow that we're not even close to the primary election yet. And she's already hitting the nuclear button in politics, which is anti-Semitism.
I think, though, that it's one of two things. Either you're right or she sees this as an opportunity. and she's taking the opportunity. But I tend to lean more towards you're being correct on this. I mean, I'm trying to play both sides of the fence a bit here.
No, and I understand that, and I'm willing to hear it.
But you're
to
right.
me, like,
I think you're right in the sense, like, look, again, I'm just playing devil's advocate. There must be some sort of indication in her math that says this is the time to do that, because you're not doing that as a candidate alone. Typically, you got a team of people that are going, yeah, let's hit them now with that. But I don't see how
the nuclear button is, because if you're running your options, if you're running all the other options and you're already coming up short of Abdul El Sayed as far as like public opinion polling, that's your last line of defense against a Muslim man.
And that's why I think
Like,
you're right.
A Muslim man from Dearborn, that's your last line of defense, is calling him an anti-Semite.
How old is that dude, by the way? Because he can't be but 40, if that.
I'll double check.
I mean, he looks young.
I know he's a father. I don't know how old.
And a doctor. Though. You know, I mean, like, but he looks pretty young, which I like.
Jobs away from Jews.
He's 41. You were right.
All right. So I like that, because I think it's time that we get some new blood in there. I think that, you know, like the biggest problem that we have in
gerontocracy.
Yes. In both houses and in the White House.
Yes.
And in the fucking Supreme Court. Like we've got to move anyone who could have been part of the silent generation out of fucking office.
If you're within 5 years of the national retirement age, I see the exit.
Look, I don't think anyone should be making decisions, and I know that this is going to sound a little bit harsh, but I don't think anyone should be in politics past 70. Like, I'll give you 5 years after regular retirement age.
Well, I mean, fuck, you have to retire from being an air traffic controller when you're, what, 55?
I think so, yeah.
57, somewhere in there. You have to retire from being a pilot when you're 65. I know that.
Hey, even in automotive, they encourage you 30 years and out.
Yeah. And you know why? Because at a certain point, you get too comfortable with your routine, and then you start making mistakes, and you get hurt.
Yep.
Or you kill people.
I almost took a job with the railroad, and the company that I had applied for.
It's a 20-year contract, right?
15.
15
on your out. Well, regardless of your age.
And you still
and then you're covered for life.
Covered for life.
Yeah. Which, I mean, again, I don't even have a problem with that. But we need the shift of power or the shift of decision-making power to be in 35, I would say 35 to 65. All right?
Yeah, because when it comes
to presidency, I would say, what is it, 25 or 27 to be a congressman? 25. So in Congress, 25 to 65. In Supreme Court, 35 to 65. I'll even go up to 70 in the Supreme Court, but I'd really prefer it to be 65. Presidency, I'll go up to 70. That's it. You know, House and Senate, it should be no more than 70. Like, you need to peace out, brother.
My perspective on it is, if you're legislating on the future of the country, but you're not young enough to see the consequences of your actions, then you do not deserve to be in that position.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying, like, I really think it should be 65 and out across the board. Like, the earliest is 25 and in.
Yeah,
and
I mean, fuck, there's minimum ages. Why are there not maximum ages?
I'm really becoming a big fan of that, because all I'm seeing is a bunch of old men fucking our country up. And I don't think that there's any way around that. I don't think there's any way around it. It's just a bunch of fucking old men who don't have any consequences that they'll have to face, because they all know, Trump included, that they're dead in less than 10. So, all right, enough political talk. Let's just get to it. The most important part of the show, Kiefer with the news.
And I heard someone say enough of the political news, but that is all that we have. And you will like it. You know why? Because I have a microphone and you don't.
That's right.
You have to listen to everything I have to say.
You have no choice. This is my miserable life, and I'm dragging you into it.
That's right. And all 700 affiliates that are losing their CBS News, you too could have me force-feeding news to everybody else.
It's just a suggestion. It's just a suggestion.
Democrats' chances of flipping Susan Collins' seat gets a major boost. Namely, 2 candidates, one Democrat, Graham Plattner, and Governor Jan Mills are both ahead of Collins in the polls.
I don't look. I know that some people have issue with Plattner, and I get it. And I know Colton, you have your issue with Plattner, but
Well, I wouldn't call it an issue. I would call it a healthy skepticism because he says all the right things, and I support what he says. But I supported what John Fetterman said when he was campaigning.
No, I get it.
And
and
on top of that, Plattner had a Nazi tattoo for over 20 years and did nothing about it.
Well,
until he got called on it.
I think he claimed he didn't know it was a Nazi tattoo, but as soon as he found out.
Yeah, you can say that, but sorry, the SS had Totenkopfs on their fucking forehead.
Did anybody else notice my camera move?
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, that was a little weird.
No.
And I wasn't doing anything.
Is there a moose humping your RV?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
You know what makes me feel like I want to like, was it Plattner?
Graham Plattner.
You know what makes me like him? Not for anything else, but very shallow thought. Is he looks like redneck Simon Pegg.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why I like him. I like him because he doesn't look like he's got one foot in the grave. And the other two do. I mean, like, let's face it, what's her face? Not Collins. Collins looks like she's ready to go.
Of course.
Susan Collins looks like she
the,
invented the Tom Collins drink.
Yeah, exactly.
She's that old.
What's the other Democrat?
Janet Mills?
Janet Mills. She's what, 77?
I think so.
Yeah.
Again, this just gets...
Again, he says all the right things, and I support what he says. It's just a healthy skepticism for me. There are some people more extreme that say he had a Nazi tattoo, it's over. There are those people. I'm not one of those people.
Right.
I just hold a healthy skepticism because being in the United States military, I got to imagine you're at least a little interested in military history. And if you look into the history of World War II and the symbology of World War II, first you learn about the swastika, next you learn about the Totenkopf. And he had that on his chest for 20 years.
Yeah, well, people do stupid shit, though. You know what I mean? Like, again, how old was he when he got it?
Oh, again, I get that, but he had 20 years for someone to say, hey, you have a Nazi symbol on your chest, and he did nothing about it until he got called on it during his campaign. That's
fair enough. Fair enough.
That's my skepticism.
I just like I said, I just like him because, like I said, he's not past 65.
Yeah, I mean,
and I think we need some new fucking blood. You know what I mean? And yes, can we be disappointed with candidates like we're disappointed with Fetterman? Absolutely.
Mm.
Absolutely. I mean, that's just part of
Mr. I had a stroke and became a conservative.
Yeah. I mean, but maybe that's what actually happened. You know what I mean? Maybe it was the stroke.
It's not his fault. While he had that stroke, they removed his testicles and spine.
Well, I would go a bit
they call
further.
It a spinectomy.
I would go a bit further and say that when you have a stroke, the potential for brain damage directly leads you to the Republican Party.
Yeah.
There have been studies on that. Brain damage is correlated with conservatism.
Yep.
And vice versa.
Mm-hmm. So, all right.
Elsewhere in the news, Steve Bannon, the former White House advisor to President Donald Trump, told attendees March 27th at the right-leaning Conservative Political Action Conference in Grapevine, Texas. Yay, Grapevine, Texas. Beautiful city, horrible festival, or conference if you want to call it, but it's really a festival. He told them that the Iran war was just beginning.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, I think he sees the writing on the wall.
Yeah. He's an insider. He's not in the administration, but he's an insider.
Well, yeah, but he's also not stupid. You know what I mean? I disagree with him on a lot of things, but I don't think he's stupid. And I don't think a lot of MAGA is stupid. I think that they all see the writing on the wall. This is the beginning of a fucking another forever war. Whether Trump wants it to be or not, you do not pick that fight unless you're ready to either absolutely obliterate, and when I say that, I mean go nuclear, or you're in it for the long haul. But there's name one fucking war that was won just with a air campaign. It doesn't exist. Like you're not, and you can call it whatever the fuck you want, but it's a war.
Yeah.
And
just because Congress didn't say it's a war doesn't mean it's not a war.
No, and Trump is
sorry, bombs and soldiers and guns and fucking aircraft carriers and flyover. It's a war.
Yeah, like no matter how you look at it, this is a fucking war, and it's going to be the only way that it ends quickly is with Trump pulling out, tail between his legs, and really at the end of the day, the U.S. being considered the loser in that war.
Mm-hmm.
This is Trump picking Vietnam for no fucking reason. You know, there's nothing good that's going to come of this. In
Much
the
like
short,
LBJ.
well, it's just in the short term, there's nothing good that's going to come of this. So,
also in the news, reporters calling the White House on Wednesday to find out the details, I should say, on what designer outfit First Lady Melania Trump would be wearing that day. Shockingly, found out that it was no longer listed as the White House on their phones, but the actual telephone operating system at the White House had been relabeled Epstein Island.
you gotta love when hackers have a sense of humor.
Yeah, Kushner's running the operation from the East Wing.
Yeah. Yeah, that no longer exists. Then I was talking about this a little bit earlier. The New York Times takes an architectural look at the coming White House ballroom and finds
Looks
there's
like
a
shit.
lot of ornamental stairs that go to nowhere and faux windows and with bathroom stalls behind them. Like
it's going to look like the Winchester House.
It's
the Winchester Mansion. Staircases to nowhere, doors that open up to nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because he wants it to look a certain way but not be functional.
Be great. Maybe we can lock him in there.
I think whoever fucking becomes president in 28 should just knock down whatever has begun there and fucking try to
restore it.
Restore the fucking East Wing back to what it was.
Yeah, I mean, it's the incoherence of neoclassical architecture, you know?
Yeah, he doesn't.
And then add on top of that Trump is a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
more good news for the Trump administration. Several Epstein survivors whose names were not redacted are now suing Trump and Google.
And Google?
Yeah.
For what?
Because their information was being Googled and Google did not remove said redactions, or apparently.
Well,
their personal information was found on Google, apparently.
Well, you just saw, what was it? Facebook got popped. I think X got popped. A bunch of social media sites got popped for being responsible for the addictive nature of it and how
YouTube.
And YouTube. Yeah, YouTube got hit. So I don't know what those lawsuits, I haven't followed it close enough, but those lawsuits are going to be big. The payouts are...
There's actually over 100 of them that are suing.
Fuck, I should sign on now for the YouTube one.
Yeah. Why not? See if you can get it to pay for your education.
Yeah.
In other news, Buddy's Pizza, the iconic Detroit chain, has been sold to local investors.
I was a little bit sad about that, but I was also happy it was local investors. Because if they would...
At least it was local.
Yeah. If that would have... Because Buddy's... Whether you like it or not, okay, and whether you like Detroit style or not, Buddy's...
I don't like deep dish in general, but...
Buddy's is a Detroit institution. I mean, it like, as far as pizza goes, it's an institution. And again, I'm not a huge Buddy's pizza fan.
There's better Detroit style pizza out there.
I mean, to be honest with you,
right off the top of my head,
I mean, this would be like Giordano's in Chicago.
Yeah.
Well, better Detroit pizza, no offense, Buddies, but Louis, there's Sorrento's.
Buscemi's.
I do like Buscemi's.
Yeah,
better.
I would say Buscemi's is better.
Cloverleaf on Grass Shit, I would also list him there, which is interesting because Gus owned Cloverleaf Pizza, and he and his family created Cloverleaf, Buddies, Shields, and Buscemi's.
Really?
Same family.
Because Shields and used to be really, really good, and then they branched out too far. But the original Shields was fucking amazing. Anyway.
Yep.
Buscemi's is the only Detroit style pizza that I it's the only deep dish pizza that I like.
I would say Buscemi's
is had Louis though.
I have not had Louis.
Yes,
I
you
would
did.
say oh yeah, you did bring it that when we were cleaning out Mom's, right? Yeah, you did bring it.
Correct.
So I have had it. And it was fucking
I
good.
may have I don't know.
Well, next
There's
time
only
we're
one
all
Louis.
next time we're all in Michigan, we'll do a deep pizza dive and hit all of them.
Oh, I'm so there.
And we'll report back.
Yeah, I think that we could do that. And then we'll do a
for our
Coney
second road trip.
Yeah, we'll do a
Pizza
Coney.
and Coney.
Pizza
road
and
trip.
Coney's. I mean, that's Detroit. Pizza and Coney's are fucking. That's Detroit.
If you can make a Coney pizza, every Metro Detroiter, their head would explode.
Yes, they would.
What are the two Coney's in Detroit? I know Lafayette is one.
Lafayette and American.
American. Okay.
And then you have National.
Yeah.
And then
Lafayette,
you get
are
Lafayette
also directly next to each other.
Yeah, Lafayette and American are directly next to each other. And
you also get the Leo's Coney Islands and the Kirby's Coney Islands. Both of those are trash.
Those are horrible. Don't bother with those. I mean, the only thing to do outside of American and I'm sorry, now I'm drawing a blank. What was the other one?
Lafayette.
The only thing if you're not going to do American or Lafayette, National is the only way to go.
Yeah,
I would agree with that.
And National's easier to get to. I mean, like you literally have to go to Detroit for the other two, Lafayette and American. You have to go downtown.
No, there's only one location for each. They're granted, like I said, they're next to each other. But outside of Detroit, it's National.
I'm pretty sure they used to be partners too, didn't they? And that's why they're next to each other.
Same family. I do believe the owners were originally brothers.
Yeah, and pissed each other off. And
now is it just
brothers,
conspiracy
like,
brain,
this.
or do they produce the exact same same food?
The sauce is a little bit different.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Each one had a different idea.
Yeah, one's a little bit thicker, one's a little bit runnier.
Gotcha.
Both taste good though. You know,
they're both good.
They're both really good. I myself,
if you've never been to Detroit, go to both. Pick your favorite. Let us know.
Get a dog from both. Let them kiss. Put them together. Do a little dog sex.
Yeah. Well, when we do the
dock your dogs.
That's right. Dock your dog.
When we do the fucking Detroit,
Two dogs, one bun.
When we do the pizza run, we'll also throw in National, American, and Lafayette.
2 wieners, 1 bun. Hey,
what's the problem with that? Hey, you fucking fag.
Double barrel hot dog.
Oh, here we go. A little bit of onion, a little bit of mustard, a little bit of chili. You're good to go there, son.
There you go. And in other news, Donald Trump has responded to the Florida mail-in ballot backlash because he can do it because he's president.
Yeah, I'm the president. I have bigger things to worry about than the election.
He can do everything he wants to do because he's president, at least in his head. But he doesn't understand. Yeah. No, you don't get to do whatever you want to do. And everyone should have the right to mail-in vote. I mean, the idea that that's even under discussion just shows how fucking shitty the Republicans are at trying to fucking suppress the vote.
Mm-hmm.
That and the SAVE Act. I mean, if you're not hip to the SAVE Act, after all we've talked about on it, the bottom line is
voter ID, which is illegal.
It's a poll tax on everyone. First off, it's a poll tax, which is illegal. Yeah. Secondly, its entire intent is to make it to where women's votes don't count. If
women
you're married,
and minorities.
Yeah, women are back to being a minority. And if you're a woman who is married and changed her name and you don't go through fucking 20 fucking hoops to get your shit together to show them that, yes, this was my birth name. Yes, this is like, you got to really show the documentation. And all of that costs money. So it's a poll tax for men and women, but it's really designed to make sure that women can't vote. It's the first
minorities
step.
who are less likely to have the proper documentation under the SAVE Act.
Exactly.
Yep,
So
fun fact.
they're trying to get rid of the ability for minorities to vote, and they're getting rid of women vote because that's where they do the worst. They do the worst with minorities, and they do their worst with women. So if we get them out of the fucking picture at least as much as possible, we are going to be winning, 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 winning. And fuck you. That's not what this is about. This is about a republic that is meant to be a democratic republic. And if you don't like it, you shouldn't be in fucking Congress. That's a fact.
Governed by a constitution.
Yeah. Like, this is simple stuff. The founding fathers were brilliant in their simplicity. This is not a Christian country. This is not a theocracy. And we follow the Constitution. It can be amended to grow with the needs of the country. But most importantly, it's already grown past these things. Minorities can vote. Women can vote. A poll tax is illegal. Go fuck yourself.
Fun fact, living in Texas, I got to vote in 2012, 2016, and 2020. And none of those times was I asked for an ID, my voter registration, or even anything that documented my name. And I lived in a conservative county.
Interesting, because they don't care, because they think you're conservative because of where you live.
And because I was white.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
In other news.
And you look the way you look. I mean, let's face it. You and I...
is doing a lot of legwork there. Are you no longer white?
No, I actually identify as plaid.
It's interesting, though, because you and me, Kiefer, we look like we should be MAGA Republicans. Colton definitively looks like a
I've
communist.
got a fucking skull on the back of my hand.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's like, oh, that's a good...
Yeah, you two pass. You two pass.
Yeah, you not so much.
Well, I'm a young recent college graduate, so
yeah. So
I bet he orders avocado toast.
I bet he does, and I bet
funny
you
enough,
likes
whenever I'm working a brunch shift at my restaurant, which isn't often, but when I do, I usually get the avocado toast as my employee meal.
I just threw up a little bit in my mouth.
Me too.
It's so good though.
Oh,
I hate avocados.
I do too. All right,
I hate
you're
avocados.
You're both
guacamole.
like actually wrong.
I don't hate guacamole. I don't hate it.
I do.
I don't like it.
It tastes like avocado. I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like it, but avocado toast, I all right. Now, admittedly, I've only had it from one place, so it might have just been bad from that place, but it was inedible.
Our avocado toast is like a really nicely spiced guacamole with some tomato on there, like some salsa on there, and then some Parmesan on top.
Well, I'd give that a shot, but I got to be honest with you, I'm not going to put that down on my must-do list.
And in other news, Trump says that the Supreme Court justices who ruled against him sicken me, is his exact words, which would he's referring to Neil Gorsuch and Amy Coney Barrett.
Of course, they're Republicans in name only, as far as he sees them.
And more importantly, he put them in the position, so they owe him.
Yeah.
That's really what it's about. You have to...
With Amy, it's
you owe me everything.
It's partially that she's a woman, so she is not there.
Yeah. Well,
he expects her husband to tell him what to do.
Yeah.
That's where we're going.
All right.
An additional 10,000 U.S. ground troops could be sent to the Middle East, a report says.
How many do we already have there? 5,000? Or is it 5,000 Marines and then
I think
other
it's 5,000.
well?
Yeah, I think it's 5,000 Marines or 3,500 Marines. I think it's 5,000 Marines.
So
and then the
essentially, there's a crayon shortage in Iran.
Yeah, but the thing is, we are not going to be able to put boots on the ground, and I can tell you exactly why. One, we got rid of their centralized leadership, which means now their leadership is decentralized, which means if we take this mountain range, there's no guarantee that the next mountain range over doesn't have a different general that's going to fuck our shit up.
Mm-hmm.
Other thing, if they could even get into the Persian Gulf, which they can. We already know they can because they have the Strait of Hormuz blocked off, right? If they could even get into the Persian Gulf, they have about, and from there onto Iranian soil, those soldiers would have about 100 meters of walkable ground, most of which is road, before they hit a mountain range, which, see my previous comment for why that's a problem.
Well, look, I mean,
Yay.
at the end of it, I think Trump is putting himself in a position where, and I don't think he minds it even, where it's D-Day in some form or fashion. Like, it's going to be...
Well, I don't know.
It's going to be a slaughter.
There are reports from the White House that he's growing bored of the war in Iran.
Of course, because it's lasted more than his attention span can handle.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be done with this in 3 days. A week, tops.
Yeah.
Like, you got to understand, Trump's attention span to any given problem does not go past 2 weeks.
Right.
Unless it has his name on it. Or a pie chart, maybe.
Even then, I don't think it goes that far. I think he's got a 2-week maximum. I think he tops out at 2
Cleverly
weeks.
drawn caricatures.
No, because look, how many... he even gets bored in the fucking cabinet meetings with everyone slobbering on his cock, telling him how great he is as a president. He falls asleep. He doesn't have an attention span, and he's getting the fucking sundowners, and he's losing it, and he's tired, and he really just wants to play golf and have people tell him how good he is.
Playing golf.
Yeah, and have people tell him how good he is. Yeah. You know, I mean, that's all it is.
In other news, U.S. paper currency will soon feature President Donald Trump's signature going forward, which will be the first time a sitting U.S. president's signature has appeared on paper notes.
Because there's no vanity too extreme for Donald Trump.
But makes you ask the question, or at least made me think of the question, if every note that has his signature on it gets burned because the people of the United States and the global community go, ew, gross, isn't that a good way to stop inflation?
Well, I mean, I know if I see money with Donald Trump's signature on it, it's going in a fire pit.
Yeah, I mean,
see, you're getting this wrong. What you got to do is you got to roll out that dollar bill and just draw a Sharpie over it, redact it.
Oh yeah, good point. Good point.
Just redact it.
That's a good point.
In related news, the commission is also reviewing a proposed $1 coin featuring Trump, which is interesting because a president may be featured on a coin no sooner than 2 years following the president's death.
Maybe he knows something we don't. Maybe Trump knows
hopefully
something.
he got the terminal diagnosis. Hopefully he got the terminal diagnosis.
Yeah, maybe that's what those bruises are that he's covering up on his hand and that rashes on his neck and whatever the fuck is going on below from the thigh to the knees.
From here on out, I'm going to give you the headline news and then how I would deliver it for the 700 affiliates.
All right.
Such as, in the actual news, hackers accessed FBI Director Kash Patel's personal email and published photos and documents. The way I would deliver it, Iran-linked hackers proudly announced that they infiltrated the FBI director's inbox and they found 47 unread Bed Bath & Beyond coupons, a fantasy football league results in which he's losing, a draft email titled, "Stop emailing me about my extended car warranties."
I also heard, and this is not part of the bit, I also heard that in that email leak, one of the things that they leaked was Kash Patel having commented on porn videos, which I just got to point out, you have to be such a masturbatory freak to comment on a porn video.
And such a fucking Karen.
Funny, I comment all the time, which is, this is not the Star Wars movie I remember. In actual news, Trump says talks are happening with Iran, but analysts aren't so sure which hardliner is actually involved. The way I would deliver it, the U.S. announced it is currently negotiating with someone in Iran, probably describing the mysterious figure as a guy with a beard who looks like he means business.
I feel like that's most of the leadership of Iran.
I think that's all the leadership of Iran.
In the news, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth prayed for overwhelming violence of action against enemies during a Christian service. I would present it. Witnesses report that Hegseth's sermon briefly opened a portal to a 1980s thrash metal music video. Sources say the Pentagon is now considering rebranding as the Department of Holy Smite.
Holy shit.
In the actual news, Tiger Woods was arrested for another rollover crash, marking it his fourth major car accident and second DUI arrest. I would present this as Tiger Woods has officially become the first athlete to qualify for NASCAR's Hall of Fame without ever actually racing in NASCAR.
What's
At what point do we take his license away? Because come on, man.
What's he's like a towhead and fat as fuck and just a party animal golfer. What's his name? I can't think of it.
God.
Something Dale something.
Daly.
John Daly.
Yeah. At least John Daly owns it. You know what I mean? Like John Daly's like,
Happy Gilmore too.
No, I haven't seen it, but
he's in Happy Gilmore too.
But at least he owns it. He's like, yeah, I'm a fucking alcoholic. I love drinking. I'll have 18 to 24 beers before fucking the day's over, and I'm smoking pot, and I'm just hammering fucking balls out in the fucking course, right? Golfing barefoot. Like he's the way that you want to be if you're going to be that. Tiger has tried to have like this different persona. He needs to embrace the fact, like Tiger needs to come out with his own blunt at this point. You know what I mean? Like you can't have, I think, what, 2 or 3 rollover accidents and not and 2 DUI, but it wasn't even 4 accidents, but 2 were rollovers, I believe, and then you got the 2 DUIs, but it's not necessarily that he was drunk driving like this last one that just happened. I think he just refused a blood test and they charged him with it because obviously he was smoking pot or had a gummy or whatever the fuck he had.
Well, if he gets a 5th, it'll be a birdie.
Well, there you go. Something to look forward to.
In actual news, House Republicans rejected a bipartisan Senate deal to restore DHS funding, prolonging the shutdown and airport delays. The way I would word this, Congress today announced a bold new aviation initiative called Operation Stand in Line Forever. The House rejected a funding bill because it didn't include enough money for immigration vibes, while the Senate immediately went on vacation to celebrate their unanimous vote to accomplish nothing.
That's all it was. That's all it was.
That's all it was. That's all it was.
Why?
And that
Why?
is my news so that you don't have to read it.
Well, I think that is a perfect place to say this has been another Elsie's Little Pickles.
If you're in Michigan, please, for the love of God, go look into Abdul El Sayed, vote for him. He's a stud. He's just like Zoran, but for Michigan and for the Senate.
Woohoo!